Anyone who's even watched the anime or played the few English games that were localized will come to know this Sailor Schoolgirl type to be as iconic as the Yellow Beetle himself. It is SLR01 Sailor Multi, with a kit of radar sight, Gatling, rifle, biped legs, and the leg ability of aim, which passively buffs the success of equipped shooting parts. Now, Sailor Multi is easily as iconic as the Yellow Beetle as mentioned for a very large number of reasons, not just for her particular role in the anime, but also for the fact that when it comes to shooting-based kits, especially for female teams, she's a model you really can't ever go wrong with using, despite the fact that her arms are actually reversed. Radar Sight is a support skill that, once activated, will buff the success of herself and all allies by about 50%, meaning that all hits are more likely to land than before, and on top of that, they're also more likely to be critical hits on the off chance. It is also worth noting with Radar Sight that it will also remove any conceal or stealth effects of the enemy side, so that sneaky opponent on the other side that likes to bypass shields by going invisible, not anymore, as Radar Sight will allow you to see right through them. Gatling on the right arm is a conventional shooting skill that is a scattered AoE, meaning it will damage one part normally and two others at random at 1/3 damage. It is also worth noting that Gatling as a scattered hit is also known for having a moderately high success rate, so it will already have a very good chance of landing a crit even on a regular shooting skill with no additional boosts. Left arm of rifle is another conventional shooting skill that is also a very well-balanced shooting attack you can generally never ever go wrong with using, because it has very good base power, good stats, and is something just all around you can always make use of and find a very flexible place on the team to use. The aim leg ability also, it does tie very nicely into her kit as a well-rounded, essentially the beginner's best friend in this case. A passive boost to her success means that she's going to be even more likely to not miss, and even a little higher chance of landing crits on top of that. In terms of the armor department, as expected of most female models, she will be moderately light in the armor department, but not enough to really knock her down for the count. With a head HP of about 2700, arms about 2450 each, and her legs at about 3100, like I said, she is going to be moderately light on the armor, but not enough to the point that one or two light hits will knock her out quickly. Her base power on both her arms are actually kind of low in terms of where you can get more commonly, even from the limited pool or the permanent pool itself. But if you find yourself just starting out and this is all you have, she still has some very good ties to her, especially noting that on both arms her success is over 1100, almost over 1200 in many cases, meaning that even by herself out of the box, she has a very high likelihood of her attacks not missing. Her leg stats also aren't too shabby either, but kind of on that lower end as well, kind of cusping decent. A leg mobility of 616 really isn't all that great, but again, as long as you can stay within the 600s, that's kind of a low cutoff point, and that's being somewhat generous to a point as well in terms of where you want biped legs to be. A melee resist of 679 is definitely not great though, as this means Sailor Multi will really struggle with punish damage from incoming melee attacks from enemies that like getting in her personal space. But she does make up for this with a shoot resist of 1234, as this means she can definitely hold her own in extended ranged combat longer than she can someone getting close and personal. An evade of 910 isn't too shabby in this case, but that does mean that she will have a moderately good chance of dodging low success attacks that may perhaps try to hit her while blind. As a pure set score, I do honestly have to rate Sailor Multi a very well-rounded 7.5 out of 10. Even if base power is not something she specializes in, as a beginner-friendly model and someone you can get very quickly and arguably very easily right out of the box within your first week, she's a model you really can't ever go wrong with using, and her kit synergizes very, very well with itself, with an exceptionally high emphasis on success, between radar sight, the passive ability of aim on her legs, and the very high success on both arms, which means it's going to be a very rare day that a shooting attack from Sailor Multi will honestly miss or be grazed. As mixed parts, I do have to rate her very equally as well at a 7.5 out of 10, as a beginner-friendly model, especially for female teams, which finding conventional parts can be kind of tricky for. Sailor Multi can very easily fill a lot of roles, be it as a pure set or as mixed parts. So if you do manage to find yourself down the line with a lot of high-end shooting parts, or need something just to kind of fill in a hole, you really don't have to look much farther than Sailor Multi and the incredible balance that she will grant you.